I've realized lately that the young adult sex comedy is not quite as prevalent as it used to be. It was before a frequent genre in Hollywood, but it seems like those sorts of lowbrow comedies are now more domain for adult characters stuck in Arrested Development, rather than the teens and early 20s that were usually the protagonists, starting in the 80s and then ending shortly before the beginning of the 2010s. Certainly one of the last examples of that earlier trend is Harold and Kumar, which in appearance seems like your typical gross-out stoner comedy, but it managed to defy a lot of tropes and is more clever than we might assume. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle basically asks the question of what would happen if we followed the token minority characters in your typical sex stoner romp at the time and their adventures. In this case, it's something as simple as going to get hamburgers to eat. However, the writers decide to go full Murphy's Law by taking our leads in every possible direction. While Harold and Kumar fall into the classic odd couple pairing of the more clean-cut organizer paired with a more devil-may-care chap, it works thanks to the great chemistry between John Cho and Carl Penn. The mishaps they get into are frequently hilarious, but the script also uses this to comment on topics like race. A lot of goofy things happen to them through their journey, but underneath them lies a commentary on how those with other backgrounds are occasionally treated. While it is a stoner comedy, it does not focus primarily on that, and the film jumps well between stupid but funny jokes, like a scene involving a lot of diarrhea, and more cerebral ones. And of course, it's worth mentioning the scenes with Neil Patrick Harris playing a ridiculous version of himself, which is made all the funnier by how he's become known through his award show hosting gigs and his role in How I Met Your Mother. At the time, they did not think this simple, low-budget little comedy would turn into a trilogy, but it proves a solid start to a fun series of films. In Harold and Kumar, Escape from Guantanamo Bay, the social commentary is elevated even further as the film highlights the fears that were prevalent at the time. It's definitely a product of 2008, even down to a George W. Bush impression. In particular, a lot of jokes around the FBI agent pursuing Harold and Kumar and his general ignorance of other cultures. The entire film serves as a skewing of stereotypes, and it works because it's not afraid of tackling them head-on. While not quite on the same level, it might be the closest we have to a Blazing Saddles these days. There's also a heart to the film in its depiction of the relationship between Kumar and an old flame. The film also nicely handles the slowly growing pulling apart of our two leads. Best of all, though, Escape from Guantanamo Bay is funny. Very funny. It's certainly a series of skits more than a fully rounded story, but they work tremendously well. Even the George W. Bush scene works because it does not consist of the usual jokes popular at the time, and instead decides to portray him as a stoner akin to our heroes. It's certainly politically incorrect, but that's part of what makes this a worthwhile follow-up. Our two favorite stoners then found themselves making both a holiday and 3D movie with a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas, which might be my favorite of the trilogy. This time it shows their friendship completely crumbled, and the movie uses the Yuletide theme to show how they can get back together. The laughs all there, along with the satire we already expect from this series. However, the Christmas theme allows it to work on its own, and 3D actually pushes the filmmakers to be very creative. It's so unapologetic about throwing things at the audience that it actually manages to work. Thomas Lennon and Amir Blumenfeld are also allowed to shine in their supporting roles. Throw in a wonderful toe-tapping number from Neil Patrick Harris, a scene-stealing waffle robot, and a stop-motion animated sequence from Laika of all studios, and a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas manages to close the trilogy with a bang. The heart underneath further elevates what is essentially a silly stoner comedy. But again, that's a part of the charm of these films. As for whether they'll make more films, who knows? An animated series was announced back when the third movie was released, but I've read no updates since then. However, as a trilogy, Harold and Kumar is funny, smart, delightful, and unafraid to tackle certain topics. If you're looking for a good laugh, they're not bad selections. See you next time.